Amazon Health AI presents Painful Thoughts.
I can't stop scratching my downtown. Yeah, but I'm not itching to go downtown and tell a receptionist I'm here to talk about my downtown. Some things you'd rather type than say out loud.
There's no question too embarrassing for Amazon Health AI. Chat your symptoms and get virtual care 24/7. Healthcare just got less painful.
I wrote a little song to remind you, Choice Hotels get you more of the experiences you value. The Cambria Hotel's got it all. A rooftop bar, have a ball. Bring a date, your squad, or even your mom. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
The Box of Oddities.
We made it to Maine.
It's funny how a long road trip with somebody, no matter how well you know them, there's still things that you learn. Like, for example, Kat talks nonstop when the traffic's heavy.
I just get nervous is all. There's a lot to look into at and make sure that you're keeping track of, and it's important to articulate it.
You want to talk about getting a speeding ticket?
No.
When we're on the road, we eat a lot of junk food, road food.
And as would be expected, there has been some tummy discomfort along the way.
Well, for you.
Well, and you, but in a very unexpected way.
The junk food on the road, I have no problem with because, that's my regular diet. And Kat has tummy problems. I'm sailing right along, no problem at all. And then we go to dinner in Washington, D.C., and it's a Mediterranean restaurant.
A really nice restaurant.
It's really, really nice, and we had delicious, fresh Mediterranean food.
Vegetables, grains, yogurts,
And then I went home and spent an hour and a half in the bathroom.
So on the road trip, we both suffered, but it was only when you ate healthy, good foods that your tummy was like, what's this?
Again, we learn things about each other as we go, or in this case, maybe reminded.
Okay, I'm just going to lay down over here. You tell me a story, okay?
Okay, here we go. There are a few stories in neuroscience sound too strange to be true, and this probably should be considered one of them. A woman survives a traumatic brain injury, and she recovers. She can talk. She can walk.
Oh, that's good.
She recognizes faces. By every outward measure, she's getting her life back.
Amazing.
Except now when somebody speaks, she sees colors coming out of their mouth.
That reminds me of a Rolling Stones song somehow.
She's a rainbow?
Yes.
Actual clouds of color blooming from other people's mouths as words leave them.
Oh, that's so cool.
Every word has its own color. Like if somebody comes up and says hello, it'll be yellow every time.
That's so neat. I wonder if it's like gradient. So like if they're speaking quickly, does it switch from color to color gradually, or is it like bam, 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 bam?
Yeah, like an LED light. I'm not sure. A person's name, it always has the same color.
Love that.
But if a dog barks or a car backfires, nothing happens.
Oh.
And music doesn't trigger it either. Only speech, only words.
That's unexpected.
Now, we've talked about synesthesia, but this is a different type. This is called acquired synesthesia.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Neurologists eventually classified it as a very rare case of acquired speech-to-color synesthesia, apparently brought on by damage that rewired parts of her brain after the injury. And I keep coming back to this thought. If the brain can suddenly invent an entirely new way of experiencing spoken language, what else is it capable of doing?
Well, we know the answer is...
Certainly, the brain is capable of lying to us about our self-worth.
And almost everything else.
But here's the thing, really, when you get right down to it, color doesn't actually exist, at least not the way that we experience it. Light, of course, exists. Wavelengths exist. Electromagnetic radiation exists. But red isn't just floating around the universe waiting to get discovered.
What?
A stop sign isn't objectively red in the same way that water is objectively wet.
Is water wet, though? We were just discussing this.
A stop sign reflects certain wavelengths of light, and that's what we agree is the color red, for example.
So you're saying colors are a social construct.
You have no idea how much I'm saying that. Your retina detects those wavelengths using specialized cells, of course, called cones. Then your brain performs what might be the greatest magic trick that you've never noticed. It creates the experience of redness.
Tequila, for me, creates the experience of redness.
Also the taste of stomach bile.
Mostly, though, the need to climb things.
Oh, yes, I remember. Anyway, the experience feels immediate, so obvious, it's almost impossible to remember. It's just a construction. We tend to think we're seeing the world as it is. Neuroscience suggests we're seeing the world as our brains are capable of representing it.
Right, we've talked about that. Like, we have no idea if the reality around us is the real reality or if it's only the reality that we can understand, perceive, agree upon, etc., etc.
It's only a small sliver of reality.
Right.
Just the piece that we can perceive with our pea brains, and that keeps us sane. Most of the time, that's close enough.
Well, like we've talked about how much information our brain is filtering out all the time. Like, nope, too much, too much.
Yep, that's it. And then something in your brain breaks. Head injuries produce astonishing changes in perception. There are documented patients who suddenly lose the ability to perceive color altogether. Their eyes still work. Their vision remains sharp. They can tell you where objects are. They can read words on the page. They can recognize familiar faces. But the world itself seems to have drained into shades of gray.
I'd rather just wake up being able to speak Polish.
Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that grass no longer looks green to you. Fire no longer burns orange. Blood has become like a charcoal color. You remember color perfectly. You know tomatoes are supposed to be red. You just can't see it anymore. The damage isn't in your eyes. It's in the visual cortex, where the brain normally transforms electrical signals into a vivid world of color that we take for granted. Other patients experience stranger distortions. One documented case, this is crazy, involved a man who perceived colors differently in only half of his vision field. This was due to a traumatic brain injury. Blue objects looked green, but only on one side. When he turned his head, the same object changed color.
Oh, that's going to mess with you.
Simply because it's now being perceived by a different part of the brain. It's not an optical illusion. It's called damage perception. It starts to chip away at the assumption that the colors we experience are stable features of reality, and maybe they're not. Maybe they're just negotiated. Maybe they're assembled every moment by billions of neurons that are remarkably good at agreeing with one another until they don't. Which brings us back to the woman who saw speech in color. Researchers believe synesthesia usually develops very early in life. Some people naturally associate letters with colors or numbers with personalities. To them, it's perfectly ordinary. This is something that's fascinated you and I for years.
Yeah. A man once told me that my face smelled like vanilla and cinnamon.
Huh. How close was he to
We were on the internet. Like, he was nowhere near me.
Oh, wow.
But when he saw me, he perceived me as a warm, comforting smell like a chai tea.
Oh, my God. That's sweet.
I said, yes, that's amazing. Thank you. But I know that that's specific to him. So someone else with synesthesia might smell me like low tide with a hint of ham.
Let's hope that's not the case. I know when I was younger, some of the days of the week presented to me as colors. Like Tuesday was always yellow, Monday was red.
7 is sporty.
And people who experience this, they don't think it's strange. It's simply how their brains have always worked. But acquired synesthesia is different. The wiring has been changed. The experience appears after an injury, almost like somebody installed new software in the middle of an otherwise familiar operating system. Nobody told her words have colors. Her brain simply decided that they did. So if the brain can spontaneously create a completely new relationship between language and color, could it create an entirely new color?
Ooh.
And that sounds kind of ridiculous because we've all seen a rainbow. We know the available colors to choose from.
That's not true.
Case closed. Except neuroscience isn't quite so certain. No documented patient has convincingly demonstrated that we've begun perceiving an objectively brand new primary color.
How would we know?
How would we know?
How would we know?
That's the question. That's the sort of story that circulates online, but it doesn't really hold up under scrutiny. What scientists have demonstrated is something I think is even stranger. Different brains almost certainly experience color differently already. Remember when we were talking about tetrachromats? Most humans are trichromats. We have 3 kinds of cone cells in our retinas, each sensitive to different portions of the visible spectrum. Our brains combine those signals into the enormous range of colors that we experience every day. But a small percentage of women, only women, appear to possess 4 functioning cone types instead of 3, and they're called tetrachromats. In theory, that extra receptor gives the brain more information to work with. Researchers believe some of these women may distinguish tens of millions more shades than the average person can.
But how would you even demonstrate that to anyone? You can't tell someone what a color looks like. You can't.
And that's where it gets really weird.
I've tried doing it with you. Sweetheart, those pants don't match that shirt. And you're like,
oh,
sure does.
Looks like blue to me. No, that's charcoal gray. So imagine looking at 2 paint samples that appear absolutely identical to you. A tetrachromat might say they aren't even close. It's like the difference between hearing a piano with 88 keys and maybe one with 89 keys. The melody hasn't changed, but the resolution has.
It's also kind of like the difference between the way that a young person sees colors and an old person sees colors. Because as we get older, we're able to perceive fewer differentiations between the shades.
That's right, and it brings us to one of philosophy's weirdest questions. How do we know your red is my red? Not the wavelength. We can measure that. The experience. If I point to an apple and say that's red, you agree, it's red. We've only established that we use the same word for the same object. We haven't established that the sensation happening inside our conscious experience resembles each other in the slightest. Maybe what I internally experience as red feels exactly like what you would call blue. And neither one of us would know. We've both spent our entire lives attaching the same labels to the same objects. There's no device that can compare private experience, to your point. Neuroscientists call these private experiences qualia, the deeply personal subjective texture of consciousness itself.
I guess the only way that we would be able to even come close is to use certain words like cool colors, warm colors.
Yeah, it's like trying to describe color to a person that's never seen color.
Oof.
We experience sweetness, we experience pain, we experience the color red, but how you experience them is accessible only to you, which means there may be aspects of consciousness that are fundamentally impossible to compare.
Of course. And to your point about pain, I think that's really interesting because we know that people experience pain differently. So that would be a qualia.
Or they don't experience it at all.
Or they don't experience it at all.
I know a guy who had that condition in our hometown, and he would come outside in the middle of winter in a T-shirt, and I would go, you must be freezing. And he was like, no, I just got to be careful. You know, I don't feel discomfort or pain in any way, which can be dangerous.
Yeah, that's where frostbite comes into play, my guy.
And to me, that's the weirdest part of the story. Not the woman who saw words in color, that's pretty weird, or that people who lost color entirely Not even the possibility that a few humans can perceive distinctions the rest of us will never notice. It's the realization that your entire visual world, the sunsets that you've looked at, the forests, the blue ocean, every childhood crayon drawing, every warning light, isn't simply out there waiting to be observed. It's something your brain is actively creating. And if brains can change, then perhaps reality, at least the part each of us inhabits, is a little more negotiable than we'd like to believe. We can measure light down to astonishing precision. We know exactly how many nanometers separate red from orange. We can map neurons involved in color perception. But we still can't answer this simple question. When you look at a crimson sunset, is your experience of that color exactly like mine? Or anything at all like mine? Or have we all been assuming that we're living in the same rainbow?
She's a rainbow.
When in truth, every one of us has been carrying around our own private version of reality.
I'm your private dancer.
It's crazy. There's nothing stranger than some science.
Da-na-na-na.
Science.
Da-na-na-na. Science.
I got my source information from PubMed, the American Academy of Neurology, a case of acquired speech-to-color synesthesia, and Smithsonian Magazine. You know, my grandfather was an old Mainer, and he used to always say, "When the crickets sing louder at dusk, autumn ain't far behind." Me, I just look at a calendar, and I can't believe that August is here already. It's a perfect time to hit reset for the autumn rush. Quince proves you don't need a crowded closet to look incredible. You just need the right pieces. Are you familiar with Quince? They specialize in effortless, high-quality essentials like ultra-soft organic cotton and premium Mongolian cashmere sweaters. They're beautifully tailored, they're built to last, and it is a perfect transition from morning meeting to dinner. Kat looks so cute in her cashmere sweater. Everything at Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They work directly with ethical factories, cut out the middleman, so you're paying for quality, not brand markup. And I'm not exaggerating when I say my favorite shirts are Quince, but I also love their shorts. And the thing that I was really surprised about when we first started getting Quince clothing is the high quality, and the price is just so unbelievably affordable. And they also bring the same everyday elevation to everything they offer. Kat's also a big fan of the hotel-quality linen pillowcases. Upgrade your everyday. Download the Quince app for an app-exclusive offer or go to quince.com/oddities. Get free shipping on your orders and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada and the UK, too. That's QUINCE.com/oddities.
Choice Hotels get you more of what you value. Comfort Inn, it's calling your name. Save on the stay. Oh, and free waffles are yours to claim. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
And now, that thing in the middle.
Today's thing in the middle, bizarre modern headlines.
Read in old-timey newsreel style.
Police are looking for a driver who crashed his car into a liquor store, facing 1,218 open container violations.
Zoo separates 5 parrots after birds were caught encouraging each other to swear at guests.
Girl discovers weird-tasting chocolate advent calendar she had been eating was meant for cats.
Man fined for pretending to be a ghost in Portsmouth Cemetery.
People sticking random objects up their bums is costing the government $350,000 a year.
Choice Hotels get you more of what you value. Comfort Inn, it's calling your name. Save on the stay. Oh, and free waffles are yours to claim. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
I see you.
Avatar: Fire and Ash is now streaming on Disney+. It's the film critics are calling the best Avatar yet.
Yeah! Go, 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 go!
A true epic and completely jaw-dropping.
This is the only pure thing in this world.
Return to Pandora on Disney+.
It will be an adventure for the whole family.
And watch the Oscar-winning phenomenon at home.
This is sick!
Avatar: Fire and Ash, now streaming on Disney+. Rated PG-13.
The Box of Oddities with Kat and Jethro Gilligan Toth.
Today we're going to talk about the Frog Boys of South Korea. If you're familiar at all with this story, you know already that this does involve the disappearance of children. So prepare yourselves.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a K-pop band.
How did I know you were going to say something completely inappropriate about a group of missing children?
Boy, it's hard to recover from.
Yeah. 5 boys all lived in the Sungsa neighborhood of Daegu, and they knew each other well. They were Woo, Jo, Kim, Park, and another Kim, ages 13, 12, 11, 10, and 9, respectively. They were all neighborhood friends, and their families knew each other. On the morning of March 26th, 1991, the boys got together to collect salamander eggs on Mount Wagryong. And it was a special day for the kids of this area because it was a one-off public holiday. Local elections were happening, so the kids got a bonus day off.
Does the collecting of salamander eggs have anything to do with the day off in the election?
No, it's just something that kids often did in that region this time of year.
Did you ever collect frogs' eggs when you were a kid?
No.
A neighbor of mine did. You know, when they're all like gelatinous and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he put them in a bread bag and left them in his garage.
What?
He forgot about it.
That's gross.
Yeah, it really was. It was really gross. We had to leave the neighborhood.
Also, that's like mass murder. Is that kid a sociopath?
Oddly, yes.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell a lot. You can tell a lot about how you treat animals. Now, okay, back to the point. This space where they were going, it was a mountain, and it was close enough to home that the parents allowed the kids to go there and play without much concern. You know, you tell your kids, don't be late, but other than that, it's just a normal day. In the afternoon, one father received a call from his kids' Taekwondo academy, and they said that their son hadn't shown up for Taekwondo. And then another family realized that their son hadn't shown up for an event. One by one, each family was like, okay, my kid's not where they're supposed to be, but they all kind of assumed that they were at one of the other kids' houses, or you know how that goes.
It's an easy thing to assume.
So the parents began calling one another, but it quickly became clear that all 5 boys were missing. Every parent's nightmare is that realization, like, oh, I don't know where my kid is. Police initially, unfortunately, suggested that the boys may have run away.
Why is that so commonly the first reaction?
I think it's the easy thing to respond to. Oh, well, probably ran off. They'll be back. But none of the kids had packed anything. It wasn't like they were going for an overnight. They weren't camping. It was just heading out to play, essentially. So as time went on and the families pressed, 5 boys are missing, the search quickly became one of the largest in South Korean history. It included police, military personnel, firefighters, helicopters, search dogs. Despite repeated searches, investigators found nothing. Days passed, volunteers joined the search, the case became national news, and the president ordered additional military resources to assist. Despite this, investigators found nothing. Over time, 300,000 people participated in the search. Millions of flyers were distributed nationwide. Still, nothing. Over time, the case became more than just a missing persons investigation. It became like a national obsession. And it remained active, even though during this time, numerous false sightings were reported. There were hoax ransom calls, which I think, by the way, should be noted, is the most vile thing you can do, is pretend to know where a family's missing person is when you don't know.
What kind of a person has to insert themselves into every news story?
It's vile. There was no real traction. Some people claimed that the boys had been kidnapped. Others suggested that they had been trafficked. Of course, there was the theory that they had all run away. Psychics became involved. But none of these leads produced evidence. For weeks.
I watched a show that follows psychics helping police solve cold cases and also not cold cases.
Warm cases?
Yeah, they could be like room temperature. But one of the psychic mediums told the family, your child is dead. You got to be pretty confident in your psychic abilities to say something like that. Sadly, she was right.
Oof. I don't know if that's good. I mean, because,
Yeah, I know. That was my reaction.
Even if you're confident, that's a rough thing to share. Okay. Anyway, moving right along. The families spent years searching. Some of the fathers reportedly quit their jobs in order to continue looking for their sons. And still nothing. Years go by. 11 years go by. And in September of 2002, two men gathering acorns discovered human remains. The remains belonged to all 5 boys.
In one place?
In one place.
Oh my God.
The location is what really shocked investigators. The bodies were found on Mount Warong, not far from where they disappeared, in an area that had been searched multiple times.
Okay. All right. Yeah. What did the remains show?
Well, of course, there were a lot of questions about whether the bodies had always been there or if they'd been moved there later. As we said, the location had been searched. And several skulls showed evidence consistent with blunt force trauma.
All right. So they were abducted and brutally tortured and killed, and then they dumped the bodies back there after the initial investigation.
I mean, that's not determined to have been the case. But the condition and the positioning of the remains didn't fit a straightforward accidental death. Yes, young children can become disoriented and mountain terrain can be hard to maneuver, but these kids were familiar with the mountain and search teams had been in there, and the skull injuries were difficult to explain. So many forensic experts, yes, believe that the evidence better supports murder. But also, how does one overpower 5 boys all at once?
Well, you're assuming that they were all killed at the same time, too.
You think that they were picked off one by one?
Maybe they were kidnapped as a group.
How?
I don't know. How old were they?
13, 12, 11, 10, and 9.
Okay. Maybe they were lured away and captured that way, and then one by one, this happened. Did the damage to the skull indicate like a weapon was used, like an axe or something? Or
just blunt force.
Okay. All right. Don't know.
One interesting caveat is that the bodies were discovered near a military training area. Ammunition was found nearby. And some question whether there was an accidental shooting that was then concealed.
Was it near a target range, a practice range?
Nope. And there is no evidence that directly connects the military to this event. There are no documents or witnesses that confirm a cover-up.
That's really weird.
It does remain speculation. Some investigators believe that the boys may have been approached by someone that they recognized. There's a teacher that some people point to in that area that they believe may have been involved. And because the boys all knew them, it would have been easy to get them all together all at once. 5 children are much more likely to leave with someone familiar than with a stranger.
Yeah, especially somebody that they perceive as in a position of authority.
Right. Now, interest in this case has continued for decades. There have been improvements in forensic science. Public interest remains high. And there was a major legal change that occurred in 2015. South Korea abolished the statute of limitations for murder. And that means that if the person responsible is identified today, they can still be prosecuted.
How many years has it been now?
This was 1991 that they went missing.
So 35 years? Is that right?
I'm not good at math.
I'm going with that.
To this day, no suspect has ever been identified. The case remains officially unsolved. But several of the parents of these children have become outspoken critics of the investigation. As you can imagine, one of the biggest criticisms is that the police didn't respond appropriately at first.
Yeah, again. Oh yeah, they'll be back. They're kids.
Probably just ran off.
Building a treehouse.
Authorities repeatedly insisted that the mountain had been thoroughly searched, making it difficult for the parents to accept that the boys were eventually found there. And after the remains were discovered, even though there were inconsistencies, police initially favored an accidental death explanation.
Again, if it was somebody involved in the investigation, they would know that that area had already been searched? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So rather than just accepting this as it is, the families continued to press for a complete forensic re-examination, greater transparency from investigators, accountability for mistakes made in investigations. Traveled throughout South Korea, distributing flyers. They appeared on television to keep the case in the public eye, and they encouraged media coverage long after most missing children stories would have disappeared from the news cycle. One remarkable ripple effect involved in this is the story of a street performer named Na Jubong. After meeting the Frog Boys' parents while they were handing out flyers, he began helping them to distribute posters across the country. Over time, families of missing children sought his help as well. So since he was a traveling performer, he became kind of a secondary spokesperson for missing children.
Maybe a traveling performer was responsible for this.
Sweetheart, come on.
My mind is just lighting up with possibilities.
In 2001, he founded the National Association for Finding Missing Persons and Families, one of South Korea's first citizen-led organizations dedicated to supporting families of the missing. And this case changed the way that South Korea dealt with missing children's cases. Today, many law enforcement agencies treat missing children as high-priority cases. And over the years, South Korea introduced stronger systems for locating missing children. The Frog Boys case is frequently cited as one of the tragedies that pushed lawmakers toward creating more formal missing kids response systems, better coordinating between agencies, and so on and so forth. Advocates argued that families shouldn't have to conduct their own investigations or spend years searching on their own because they don't feel that they're being supported. And although not caused solely by the Frog Boys case, it is one of the cases most frequently mentioned during debates over South Korea's statute of limitations. The public frustration over unsolved murders, including the Frog Boys case, continued with growing calls of change until in 2015, they abolished that statute. So all that is great. There have been positive things. However, this case still remains completely unsolved. It's a mystery.
I am so saddened for the families involved all of these years, and they still don't have any answers. That would never bring their children back, but there is something to be said for closure in cases like this. Good God, that's awful.
It is, and there are so many what ifs related specifically to this case. It's horrifying. And it's still, as I mentioned, a public obsession. People still know what you're talking about when you mention the Frog Boys. I got my information from Wikipedia, obviously, from Medium, from Defrosting Cold Cases, and CNA.com. I, by the way, had to resubscribe to Medium, and then I realized that I already had a subscription to Medium with another email address, and now I'm twice subscribed to Medium. So thanks, Medium, for all the information, ×2.
They did a story on us once. That was pretty nice.
It was nice.
Yeah.
What was that about?
They asked us to do a video on 5 things to launch a successful podcast, and then they did an interview with us.
Oh, I was thinking that was Distractify. I guess that was a different article about us.
You guys, we love you. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time.
Until then, keep flying that freak flag.
Fly it proudly, you beautiful freak.
And so, let it be known that the Box of Oddities belongs to you, and its fate is in your hands. We wish to offer our deeply felt gratitude and appreciation for your patronage. TheBoxOfOddities.com. Copyright 2026, all rights reserved.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
I'm not giving up. I am selling the building.
The final season of FX's The Bear.
The restaurant is flooded.
Everything's either going to be okay.
Or not.
We are outgunned and we are outmanned, but we have each other.
FX's The Bear, the final season. All episodes now streaming on Disney+.